Hi, my name is Cole Carruthers. I'm an artist living in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm at the Cincinnati Art Museum, and I'm here to do an explanation of a print which Courtney Cooper, a fellow artist, and I created for an exhibition that we had called Cincinnati Everyday. It's a limited edition silkscreen print, which comes in this size or format. It's actually printed on the back with some instructions and a diagram. The reason for that is that, of course, the print could be framed if you liked it that way, but you have the option of actually cutting it away from the paper, folding it, or scoring it, I should say, and folding it, and then you would create this three-dimensional pop-out painting. So what I'm going to do today is cut this print away from the paper, do the scoring and the folding, and produce that three-dimensional object for you, the pop-out painting. The instructions are on the back. Courtney wrote those, and you can read them at the bottom before you begin. But keep in mind that you're not working on this side. You'll be working on this side, because this is the actual print. I forgot to mention what kinds of tools you need. A good pair of scissors is probably the most important thing you'll need, because a bad pair would not do a very clean cut on your print. If you prefer, you could use something like a straight razor or a utility knife or an X-Acto knife. For that, of course, you would need a straight edge to place on every one of the solid black lines around the outer edge. This can be glued together or taped together. I have here some double-sided Scotch tape, but you could use anything like an Elmer's glue or some other paper quality glue such as Yes Paste. I also found that it's helpful if you have some clothespins. You can use that just to hold it together while the glue sets, but I didn't mention that in the directions. In any case, the final thing you might need is either a letter opener, or I found what works very well to score is just a finishing nail. So I'll begin first by cutting the outline. And I think it's always best to remember that because you're cutting this away from the print, you can make any cut you need that gives you easier access to the design. So I began by cutting just the lines that are straight in from the edges. But now I'm going to cut on the ends of the tabs, because they too are easy to reach. And you want to try and be as accurate as you can with the cutting along the lines, because the pop-out painting is intended to fit exactly to size. So if you're off on your cut, you may find that you need to do some trimming later on, which might be difficult for some people to figure out. Now I find it's easiest just to go ahead and cut all the way in to these diagonal lines. That'll give me access to them in an easier way with less paper around. What I'm going to do is just cut away some of the paper. So it's beginning to take shape. Now it says also to cut on these dash lines. It may not be quite so easy to see them in the video, but you will notice that they come in on the four ends. So you cut those, and that frees them from the rest of the paper. All I have left to do is clean up this cut on each of these 4 diagonals, and then we'll be ready to start scoring. Okay, that looks pretty good. What's explained is that for all the interior lines that are solid, you score them on this side of your design. For those lines which have these little dots on them, you can see them there, along here, you will put a little pinprick on there and then turn it over and do the scoring on the back. I'll show you how to do that when the time comes. So first I'm just going to start the scoring of all the solid lines from the front. So I place the ruler on the line, angle my nail, and gently, with a little bit of pressure, draw a line from one end to the other of each solid black line. Just so you can see how it works, I've scored the line here. It makes a very clean bend. Okay, I think I've got all the lines that need to be scored from the front scored. If a line doesn't bend easily, then you might check by feeling it to see if there's a little bit of a groove that was made. If it's missing that, then you realize you may have missed that, forgotten to do that line. Okay, now I'm going to make some pinpricks on all of these dotted lines, and then when I'm ready, I'll flip it over and score those sides. So I'll do it, you don't have to do every one, just enough so you know where they are. There, I think I've got it. Okay, so now I'll flip it over. You can see the little indentations where, oh, I missed one. No, I've got it. You can see the indentations where you're meant to score on this side. So what you do again is you bring the ruler to the design and you line up those pinpricks and you score. Okay, I think I've got it. So remember, you're always folding the scores away from you. It's recommended to fold the long sides first because you'll notice that the short ends have the miter, and this miter will overlap the long end. So we go ahead and we fold them to make sure that they make a nice neat fold. These will come together. I'm going to do that. I'll go ahead and tape this together. Now this is where I found it's helpful to have, you could use a paper clip or even a clothespin like this. If you're gluing it, having those just to hold it in place helps a lot. Now these little corners, they fold inward, so you can just kind of press them with your fingers like that. And as you do that, then they will collapse inward when you fold the ends over them. So I'll show you how that works. There. Okay, so let's take these clips off, and I'll go ahead and put a little tape on them. Okay, now I'm going to fold the ends over. Bring it down. Do the same on this side. Lastly, you put in the center panel, and it actually can kind of lock it in place. Now you could put some tape under the corners, but I'll show you how this can then be folded out, and you can do that to make it more permanent. But there you've got it. For pop-out painting, it can hang on the wall. So that's the intention of this print that we made for the Cincinnati Art Museum's museum store. It's kind of a fun object, and if you were to have one of these, you could always get some help by inquiring at the museum store, or you could even take a look on my website, which is oils.cc. And under prints, I will have a published version of the video in case you need extra help. So thank you very much, and hope you enjoy the print.